Everything changed when people found out. Our lives were never the same. People we didn't even know started talking about us. And after it was on local TV news, we kept getting nasty letters. But the worst thing of all for me are the texts. Oh, not another. Why don't they leave me alone? I didn't do it. Why do I keep getting these texts when it wasn't me?
First of all, I would like to say thank you for coming here today. You have a big decision to make. You've heard some compelling evidence, and the decision you have to make is whether to convict Mr. John Phillips, the defendant, of the crime he is charged with, death by dangerous driving. It's not careless or reckless, but death by dangerous driving. Section 1 of the Road Traffic Act states that a person is guilty of dangerous driving when they have driven in a way that falls far below the standard of what is expected of a competent and careful driver. Do you think Mr. Phillips was driving carefully or competently? Firstly, we've heard evidence of how Mr. Phillips was veering all over the road, crossing the white lines, moving into another lane, and not just a sporadic one-moment incident. It was continual. It was 8 to 10 miles. We've had four eyewitnesses to that effect. Overwhelming evidence to suggest that he was on his mobile phone, sending text messages, calls, receiving calls, dialling numbers. He refers to the fact that the cattle do not move inside the lorry, that they are stationary because they are packed well. The drugs in his system, well, he had taken drugs. We can clearly see that he had drugs in his system, and they weren't from 2000 and 2001. They were definitely prior to the incident. Is Mr. Phillips guilty of death by dangerous driving? Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have only one issue to decide today. It is not for you to decide whether the defence has proven that Mr. Phillips was innocent, but to decide that the prosecution has proven beyond a reasonable doubt that he was guilty. On the evidence that you have heard today, this is not possible. The prosecution have at no point during these proceedings offered any substantial proof as to Mr. Phillips' guilt. There is no CCTV evidence that shows the crash. 3 of the 4 witnesses did not see the crash. This alone should be enough reason for you to find reasonable doubt, and if you have reasonable doubt as to his guilt, the only possible verdict is not guilty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mum and Dad just argued about it all the time. It was horrible. Dad would be shouting and Mum would be crying. Then they wouldn't talk to each other for days, and when they did, they started arguing again. For the first time in my life, I caught Dad crying. He was saying over and over, he's killed someone, someone's husband, someone's father, someone's son. He's devastated a whole family. But Dad was wrong. My brother has devastated 2 families.
The defendant, please stand. The foreman, please stand. Mr. Foreman, will you please answer my first question either yes or no? Has the jury reached a verdict upon which you are all agreed?
Yes.
Do you find the defendant guilty or not guilty of causing death by dangerous driving?
Guilty.
You find the defendant guilty, and that is the verdict of you all?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Yes, stand up, please. John Phillips, I'm unable to give you any credit for pleading guilty because you obviously have not pleaded guilty. Had you pleaded guilty, I would have reduced the sentence by 1/3 in accordance with the statutory guidelines. But I'm afraid
John got sent down for 4 years. He'd killed someone and ruined the lives of that man's family. Alright, we hadn't lost someone like they did, forever. And I'm sorry for that, and I wish I could turn back the clock and make it all right again. But I can't. What my brother did totally destroyed our family as well. Not long after John was sent to prison, Dad left. Him and Mum's arguing got worse, and he couldn't live with the shame of having a son who was known as a murderer. But it was all the lies that John told that really hurt him. Maybe it would have been easier if he had told Dad the truth. He could have forgiven him. Alright, it wouldn't have changed what had happened, but telling lie after lie to Dad broke his heart, so he left us. I still see Dad every other weekend, but he seems different. He's just so sad all the time. It's like all the happiness is gone. Then Mum got ill. Some sort of breakdown, they said. And so she couldn't work. And that's why we couldn't afford to keep the house anymore. And we have to move. Mind you, it's probably better that we get away from here anyway. Go somewhere where nobody knows us. Where we can start again. If we ever can.
Come on, Charlotte, we've got to get going.
Coming, Mum.
Who's that from, Charlotte?
Just a friend, Mum. Wishing us good luck for the future.